Today, it is hard to imagine anyone but Christopher Lee as the monster in Hammer's first great Gothic horror, The Curse of Frankenstein, in 1957. However, he was not the only one being considered for the role. Bernard Bresslaw was born in Stepney, London, on the 25th of February 1934, the youngest of 3 boys. As part of the UK programme to evacuate children from dangerous urban areas to safer rural ones, he was evacuated with his brothers to Swindon to live with the Wallace Findlay and family. After the war, the London County Council awarded him a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, RADA, where he won the Emile Littler Award as the most promising actor. He was talented, but lacked the classic leading man looks. He also thought he had a bigger problem. He was 6'7". Fortunately, Laurence Olivier was looking for someone to play the part of an Irish wrestler in The MacRory Whirl at the Duchess Theatre. Afterwards, he debuted on the London stage in Bachelor's Honeymoon, which closed in 3 days. Hammer noticed him and casted him in a small, uncredited role in The Men of Sherwood Forest. In 1955, Hammer also cast him as Ivan the Terrible, a Cossack dancer in The Glass Cage, The Glass Tomb in the US, starring John Ireland. Here, Bresslaw worked with producer Anthony Hines, who went on to produce The Curse of Frankenstein. Hammer had a choice for the monster, the 6'5" Christopher Lee or the 6'7" Bernard Bresslaw. Anthony Hines once said, "We almost went with Bernard Bresslaw, who, while known mostly as a comedian, was more than up for the role. He certainly met our requirements." 45 years later, I can't tell you why. I can't, in all honesty, take credit for choosing Lee, but I won't say I didn't either. To be fair, Mr. Bresslaw might have done as well. Breslaw's career would still continue. In the same year, he was cast in a TV comedy about a group of conscripts in the post-war British Army, starring William Hartnell as the Sergeant Major.
You and you, on your feet, at the double! You're in the army now!
Side note, William Hartnell will go on to become the first Doctor in the BBC's classic franchise Doctor Who.
Breslaw's role was Private Popeye Popwell, a very clueless soldier with the catchphrase, "I only asked," which stuck. The show was very popular.
Is that a sack you're wearing?
Hammer bought the rights and made a film based on the show. The script moved the group to a post in the Middle East. The movie was titled after that catchphrase, "I only asked," and did well at the box office. It became very popular in the UK. Hammer decided to give Bresslaw another movie and asked the writers of I Only Arsked, Sid Collin and Jack Davies, to write another script. They stayed with comedy but decided to add a horror edge. Thus, The Ugly Duckling, a comic Jekyll and Hyde story, went into production, and Bresslaw played both roles. His role as Henry Jekyll was very close to his Popeye role in the Army game. The Hyde role allowed him to expand his acting chops as he plays a suave, physically imposing, and confident, tough guy. At this time, he had also released an album. He put out the song Mad Passionate Love and rose to number 6 on the UK charts in autumn 1958 and almost became the title of the film. The Ugly Duckling was released in 1959, but did poorly. In 1960, he was given a TV show, Meet the Champ, but it was pulled after 6 shows. He continued to appear in other shows and did stage work when, in 1965, he started to play in the Carry On movies with Carry On Cowboy. This was not technically his first appearance because in 1959, his legs were used as an uncredited stand-in for a scene in Carry On Nurse. He would make 13 more Carry On films. In 1969, Hammer would again call on him for the role of Harry in its sci-fi epic Moon 02. Sadly, the movie became the studio's biggest box office failure. Besides the Carry On movies, he acted in other films such as the cult oddities Old Dracula and Jabberwocky. The 80s brought him roles in Hawk the Slayer and Krull. On the 11th of October 1993, he was at the Open Air Theatre in Regent's Park in the Green Room, preparing for the role of Grumio in that evening's performance of The Taming of the Shrew when he collapsed from a heart attack. Resuscitation attempts were unsuccessful.
Now, 30 years later, we can only wonder what would have happened if Bresslaw was selected as the monster in The Curse of Frankenstein. Would Christopher Lee go on to play the Mummy or Dracula? Would Hammer still have the success it had? And, being more speculative, would that choice also affect the careers of David Prowse, who played Darth Vader, or Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca in Star Wars? We remember Bernard Bresslaw as a comic actor, but one casting choice could have made him a classic monster and changed the course of the cinematic industry in Great Britain.
Please give me something to